I'm Daniel, the dependable one. My younger brother Marcus is the golden boy, charming, reckless, and perpetually expecting a handout. We always had a difficult dynamic, but I foolishly believed he'd finally grown up. Marcus decided to launch a huge, ambitious venture, a luxury glamping resort on a scenic plot of land he bought an hour outside the city. It was his ultimate dream, and he promised it would make him rich. Since I was financially stable, he convinced me to co-sign a few small equipment leases, saying my credit score would get him better rates. I reluctantly agreed, but I set a firm boundary. Nothing over $10,000 and absolutely no debt tied to my personal name. For the first 6 months, Marcus was flying high. He secured a construction loan, broke ground, and hired a crew. I was proud of him, maybe even a little envious. I started to think he had changed. Then, one Tuesday morning, I received a certified letter from the bank's legal department. It wasn't about the leases. It was a notice regarding a $250,000 business loan in my name, secured by my primary residence. Marcus hadn't just co-signed a lease. He had used an old, digitized copy of my driver's license and several forged documents to apply for a massive, high-interest loan. The entire $250,000 had been immediately funneled into his resort construction fund. I was the sole guarantor. I confronted Marcus at the construction site. He was wearing a hard hat, looking like a caricature of a successful businessman. When I showed him the bank notice, his charm evaporated. "It's not fraud, Daniel. It's an investment," he sneered. "I'll pay it back when the resort opens. Just cover the first few payments. The bank won't even notice." He then dropped the final, cold truth. The construction lender had demanded more collateral last month, and without the $250,000 cash injection, the entire project would have gone under. He justified his actions by saying he saved his dream, and I was selfish for questioning it. He fully expected me to quietly pay off his massive debt to protect his fragile ego. I left the site, not just angry but violated. Marcus's actions were criminal, but reporting my own brother would mean a public trial, family disgrace, and potentially no recovery of the money. I needed a different kind of justice. I needed silent, strategic revenge. I immediately contacted a forensic accountant and a property lawyer. The accountant confirmed the $250,000 was unrecoverable through Marcus's assets, which were all tied up in the resort. But the lawyer gave me an idea. The lawyer, Mr. Hayes, looked at the resort plans and pointed out a detail Marcus had overlooked in his rush: access. Marcus's glamping resort was massive, but he had bought his core property a few years ago when it was cheaper. The main access road, the only road wide enough for heavy delivery trucks and guests, didn't actually belong to him. It belonged to an unassuming, narrow half-acre strip of land running right along his resort's western boundary. This strip of land, Lot C-14, had been undeveloped for decades and was currently owned by an elderly couple who used it for timber harvesting. Lot C-14 was the key to the entire resort. Without it, Marcus's resort was completely landlocked, inaccessible by vehicles, and therefore worthless. I shifted my focus from the $250,000 debt to the property. I secretly tracked down the owners of Lot C-14 and began negotiations. I never mentioned Marcus or the resort. I simply offered them a generous, all-cash offer for the small forested strip. They were happy to sell. 2 weeks later, the deed was transferred to my holding company. I now owned the only official road access to my brother's $5 million dream project.